So hopefully I've not messed that start up and we are live. And I've definitely messed that bill. There we go. So we're on All for United tonight. We have Andrew Wall as normal, Mr. Bateman as normal, and then we've got a special guest. It is my brother. So if you would like to give him as much grief as possible, big thumbs up from me. So obviously it's that time of the season again. Feels like we've just spoke about this game just a couple of weeks ago, maybe. Same result would be nice. So we've obviously got Liverpool coming to Old Trafford. So we're firstly, Andy, you going to be there?
Yeah, I'll be there, and I'm just hoping we can just invoke the spirit of 3 weeks ago, because after what I've seen this week from United, I'm just thinking we're going to need a lot of luck tomorrow.
What spirit is what we're thinking. So
something.
yeah, it's going to be a tough one, isn't it? Are you open to see Barry? Barry has left us for tonight's stream, as you may notice.
Yes,
Barry may have tickets to go tomorrow.
I did get you, because he said, "Oh, where do you sit at Old Trafford?" And I was like, "I sit here." And I was wondering why he was asking. He said, "Well, I'm in this," and literally he's in the same area as I am, so I'll definitely be seeing him tomorrow.
Jammy man. So yeah, it's. I'm looking forward to it. / not looking forward to it. I'll say it again, Andy. I don't know why you keep this season in particular. How you keep going to these games.
It's for
and
the
going
love,
through
for the love.
Through this. Barry tells me you've been enjoying London.
Well, I wouldn't use the word love. Use another word, hate. I was thinking that. I was thinking it'll be too soon if I'm there again, and I just thought, in 2 weeks' time we'll be Wembley. So hopefully,
let's hope it's not the same.
Wembley.
Yeah, let's hope it's not the same. Dan, I've not got your thoughts on the last game, the Chelsea game. I don't think I've spoke to you since. How are you feeling after that?
Probably best you didn't speak to me for a couple of days, to be honest. Only we would lose that game that way. Only in the entire league, only us would lose that game in that manner. And the only other team that would have been in that same predicament would have been Chelsea, because a team full of bottlers with no passion, no football IQ, no nothing. You know, it got to 3-3, and I don't know. You know, I know Bruno's captain, but where's the actual leaders? You know, saying, you know, I know it's disappointing, but a point from 2-0 down, still not a disaster. You know, who said, you know, but no, let's try and go for the win, and then get hit on the break and they score again. So yeah, I had nothing positive to say, so it's probably best I avoided for a while.
Yeah, I don't think I'd calm down till maybe 12 hours later. I'll be honest, I don't know whether you two were the same, but when the last goal went in, I just went, fucking, yep.
I wasn't surprised.
That's our season in a nutshell. And I completely agree. There's only Man United and Chelsea that would lose that game like that this season. It's because they're all over the place in terms of team. So obviously we'll get straight into it. We'll get into team news. I can't really find anything on Man United's team news. It's very closed off. There's no update on Varane. There's no update on Evans. Obviously, Mount's back. Shaw and everybody's still injured. Maguire's fit. I'm going to ask this knowing the answer already, but it's what we go through. Andy, do you see many changes to the team that aren't forced, or do you feel like it's going to be a 10-hour special?
Definitely going to have to be some kind of 10-hour special. I'm just like, our injury crisis is just worse, and it's just all been in the one area this season, defence. And I'm just like, just need a bit of a break, you know. Just thinking from Thursday, I saw Varane go off. I thought last thing we need. Johnny Evans came on, and to be fair, he did all right for the time he was on the pitch. And even my dad said that, and he's a Liverpool fan. He said Johnny Evans did. It was just unfortunate he came off injured too, and I was just like literally got no defence. And then so Willie Kambwala came on. I thought he did a great job as well. I'm just thinking it's likely to be Kambwala and Maguire. So it will be a big game for the 19-year-old. I just think, you know, he showed what he's made of it against Chelsea. So him alongside Maguire, that experience as well. I'm just thinking, yeah, it's going to be. I feel like it's going to be a tough afternoon, but I feel like doing that game against 3 weeks ago, I just think when we get that moment, we're going to have to take our opportunity, because Liverpool can easily punish us, at the other end of the pitch. So the goals that they scored like 3 weeks ago, kind of errors of our own making. So we're going to stop gifting goals to the opposition teams, because it's like we can't keep going down in games and then having to fight back all the time. It's like we've got to be on the front foot. We've the ones that got to be in charge. But this season it's just not gone our way. So I'm just like, yeah, the defense is just, I don't know, it's just a bit in a mess at the minute, and we're just, I don't know what all these injuries, but how they're being, what's the cause of all these? Is it what's happening in training? The medical department's been discussed. Trying to get players back. It just, all things are up in the air at the moment. And I think Ten Hag did say, look, we have the idea of where we can resolve this. It's just, I don't know, it's just taking a bit of time just to get things in place. Can't come quick enough for my liking.
Yeah, you've made a lovely little comment there that's going to perfectly go into my statistical analysis that I've been doing. Fun fact, Liverpool, from going behind, have won 26 points this season, a top flight record. So I'm not quite sure that I want to score first, unless it's like the 95th minute, and then maybe we'll be happy. Dan, I know you've been quite critical of Ten Hag. You're sort of on a level with me in terms of he should shoulder some more responsibility than he is, and it isn't just all on the players. And tactically, he's going for something and it's not working, and he's not changing his mind. He's just still going for it. So do you see him making any tactical changes, or do you think it's just going to be what we've seen for the last 12 months?
It'll be just the same. And I think, like I say, Ten Hag's to blame for a few things. The players are to blame for certain things. And we seem to be in a thing at the moment where you're either one or the other. People are like, oh, it's either the player's fault or it's the manager's fault. I'm somewhere in the middle where, like Ten Hag, the reason we're getting played through so easily is because we're so predictable to play against. You know who's playing. Like I say this every week. Barring injuries, you could pick 10 out of the 11 every week. So if I can do that sat on my bedroom floor, just doing the Man United app, what's Jurgen Klopp doing? Pardon? Get a chair?
Get a chair.
Can't afford one. I like to on the floor. No, but if I can do that sat there, what's Jurgen Klopp doing with his coaching staff and all the things at his disposal? I just think it was the same with Chelsea the other night. It doesn't matter who we play. Their midfield runs through our midfield like it's not even there. It doesn't matter who we play. It happened against Newport in the Cup as well, where we made them look like world beaters as well. And for me, the manager has to try and change something, even if he just gets into that. I know we've talked previously about survival mode, and even if it's just about trying to preserve his job or whatever, but change something up. And I get that the injuries don't help and, all that kind of stuff. But, with injuries, I get it if you're playing the kids. But you look at that team that played against Chelsea the other night, they're all pretty much fully fledged internationals, give or take, that play on an international level, have played numerous games for United. When you play for Man United or a big club, you can't be losing games in that kind of manner, in my opinion.
Yeah, I said very, very similar on the review show for the Chelsea game. I got a few funny looks. Even Barry gave me a funny look. I noticed when I was watching it back. Basically said that Chelsea are actually in a better position than we are at the minute in terms of what we see on the pitch. I think if they win the game in hand, they're only 2 points behind us. But Chelsea are throwing inconsistent performances with, yes, they're expensive players, but young players that haven't got loads of experience, haven't won Champions Leagues, haven't won World Cups. So you sort of can get it. You can get why it's so inconsistent, because it's a bunch of young lads playing themselves into some sort of like, oh, right, yeah, I'll get used to playing with you sort of thing. We've got fully fledged internationals that have won World Cups, that have won Champions League, and they look awful. Casemiro at points in that Chelsea game couldn't be asked to run to the point. He was just trying to chop people down. I can't be bothered to chase you. I'm just going to chop you down. So we'll bring in the man, the myth, the legend that is my brother. I'm going to throw a bit of a spanner at him straight away. My question first to you is literally going to be: we a little bit judgmental of Ten Hag, but I'm sort of on the fence. I want him to stay, but I don't want him to stay after 1 week. We would like to say I'm a flip flop, and I love it. If Klopp had this Man United team, would they be playing as bad as they are, or do you think he could get a different tune out of the players? One of my criticisms of Ten Hag is he's isolated his squad. So he's got his 11 to 13 players, but he's isolated the rest, and he's made them feel basically useless. And whereas you look at Klopp, and I've praised Liverpool quite a lot for this lately. You're playing, is it Kwanzaa?
Yeah.
At centre back, you've got Bradley's come out of nowhere. You've got Harvey Elliott coming in, trusted from. Did he take Salah off for Elliott the other day? And Salah was furious.
He did.
So do you think Klopp would actually, in terms of the squad, is it as bad as it looks, or do you think there's an issue both player and manager wise?
I think it's difficult. Obviously, I think you can just look at Liverpool this season to see the job that Klopp can do with a slightly depleted squad. I mean, we've had a lot of players injured for a long time this season. Obviously, Mo goes off to Africa in January for the African Cup of Nations and things like that.
Did you lose a game while he was away?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No. I mean, you look at the League Cup final. He brings on some players that a lot of Liverpool fans don't really know a lot about because they've not seen them a lot, and they get the job done. They all know the roles, they know the job. It's things behind the scenes as well. So obviously, I don't know how much you guys, I'm assuming you don't follow Liverpool much at all, but one of the biggest changes Klopp's made in terms of the academy and the first team is getting them all in one building, so that the academy can see the first team players at every training session. They can see what they can aspire to. They can be involved in it. I do look at United's squad. They've got some decent players. United have got some really good players. I like Manu. I like Garnacho. I think Garnacho is a good little player. There's just some guys that have been there a long time from an outsider point of view. They just don't seem to be able to get the job done under any manager, because it's going back a while now, isn't it? You've got Ollie, you've got Jose, even if you go all the way back to Van Gaal, you've some of those players are still there. I mean, I've spoken to Danny about this many times. It amazes me that Martial's still a Man United player. I can't understand the logic behind it, why he's still there. But I do think Klopp would get. But I think it's unfair on Ten Hag to compare him to Jurgen Klopp. I don't think there's many managers, and obviously I'm biased. I'm a Liverpool fan, but I don't think there's many managers that could do what Klopp could do with some players. When he first came in, the team that he took over had no right to get to Europa League final. Yeah, we lost to Seville in that final, but some of the players, he makes players like Lallana, Henderson, who are decent players, but he makes them look a step above what they probably are. So, and I don't think you're going to get that with Ten Hag. I can't. And even if you swapped him, even if you got rid of him this summer, the problem you've got, and again, this might be me being a little bit biased, but Liverpool are looking for a new manager. So if you're the likes of, I won't say Xabi Alonso because he's broke my heart already, but if you're Ruben Amorim and you've got the choice between Liverpool at the minute and United at the minute, where are you going to go? So I'd probably stick with him and see what you can do. It's not being a United fan, it's tricky. All I can say is, looking at that team, I would get rid of a few of them. I think a few of them have had more than enough chances now to prove that they can push on and do something under several different managers, and they just can't do it. I mean, Bruno being the captain for me as a non-Man United fan is crazy. Don't get me wrong, I think he can be a really good player, and I think he's one of your better, more dangerous players. And he's on tomorrow afternoon, he'll be one of the ones that I will be fearing. Don't let him have too much space. Don't let him get time. But I don't know, that attitude maybe not there, maybe. So yeah, I do think Klopp would do better with his team. Though. I do think if he had this team, that you wouldn't be losing, because I think you'd be more controlled in the way that you play. And like Andy said, it was like a tennis game against Chelsea, and I think you need more control. And I don't, obviously, because I only watch United a few times a season. I might watch them when they play us, and I might watch them in some other big games. I don't really see what the plan is. Like what's the idea? Like you guys could tell me what's the style of, like are you
No, we
trying to build? Yeah. So if you guys are struggling, then that probably tells you everything you need to know.
So that dropped me into another little stat that I found. Liverpool against Sheffield United kept a highest figure ever on record since records began in 2003, and it was 83.1% possession that they had by the final whistle, which is the most ever since records began. I didn't watch that game. I'd imagine it was a tough one for Sheffield United with stats like that. So
it wasn't actually. It's we had a lot of the ball, but we didn't. It wasn't really till the second half that we really got going. So yeah, it was. It wasn't the walkover that 82% possession makes it sound.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's some more stats I've got coming later, including a 0-0. In fact, Andy, we'll do this now. Liverpool played in a 0-0 recently. Okay,
Yeah.
you ready for this? They had, where's it gone? 30 shots, 34 shots and didn't score. Who was it against?
I know the answer.
I know the answer.
You're not allowed to play. It's Andy's game.
Didn't score against us, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So what team did Liverpool play when they had 34 shots and it finished 0-0?
Yeah, it was us.
Yeah, it was us. Yeah.
Don't know why. I just thought that was a trick question. I was like thinking, who have we got?
It was definitely us. Twillum's making a few points here, coming out strong. Ten Hag has his favourites. I think that's the point I'm trying to get at. I think Klopp is, and not just Klopp, but other managers. I mentioned Postecoglou at Spurs. He's threw a blanket over players that you wouldn't have expected him to because he knows he needs them. So Lo Celso's had a bit of a blanket put on him. Players that you wouldn't really expect, like Penn Davis, is coming when they've had injuries, and he's done really well at just chucking this blanket over them, saying, "Do you know what? You might not be the future of the club, but you're part of this team." I just feel like Ten Hag hasn't done that with some of the players maybe he could have this season. So, from a Liverpool perspective, what are you expecting from the lineup, and are you missing any players of note?
Yeah.
I know Thiago's out.
Yeah. I mean, Thiago. I'll be honest. I don't foresee Thiago playing another game for Liverpool, which is a shame because he's technically brilliant to watch. He's really good to watch, but I just think injuries have just ruined the last few years of his career, unfortunately. So I'll be very surprised if we see Thiago again. I think if we do see him, it'll be a cameo towards the end of the season as sort of a farewell, because I don't see him renewing his contract either, especially with Klopp leaving and Michael Edwards now coming in, and he's got his own philosophy on the age profile of players and things like that. So yeah, so we have got, unfortunately for you guys, we have got a few players coming back. So Robbo was back. He played a few minutes against Sheffield United. Curtis Jones.
Talking about shithouses, one of the worst in the Premier League, by the way.
Oh, I love him.
You always love your own shithouse.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Definitely.
Curtis Jones is back now. I don't know if he's rated amongst United fans, but he's one of the most press-resistant players in the league for me. Is the Gini Wijnaldum regen, basically. It's getting the ball off him is very difficult, and it just keeps it calms the game down. So he should be back. Konate came back against Sheffield United. I don't know whether you guys saw the foul on him.
I did. I
it was a leg breaker, and I don't know how it's not a red card, to be honest. And they didn't even give a foul for it. I'm sure you guys have had your own qualms with VAR this season, but yeah,
we're going to touch on VAR towards the end of the show, actually.
Yeah,
because I do want a different perspective on that, but we're definitely going to touch on VAR.
Yeah, some good news. there are some players who it's probably going to be a bit too early for. So Trent a bit too early for him. I think he's back in training this week, but he's not back in full team training. So there'll be no Trent. I believe the same with Alisson. I think Alisson's nearly on his way back. But to be fair, Kelleher's been really good since he's come in.
But he's not Alisson.
If he, I don't back him in a one-on-one like I do Alisson, but he's done well. Do you know what I mean? He's not let himself down in any way. So and the game against you guys tomorrow, he would have played more games than Alisson this season. That's which I don't think a lot of Oppo fans realise that we've not had him for so long.
I'm even more impressed that you're currently top. Then is that in the Premier League or all comps?
Well, it'll be all comps as well, but the vast majority of them are Premier League games. Yeah. I think he's played tomorrow. Tomorrow will be his 25th game of the season. Jota is back in training, but not going to be back for tomorrow, which is probably the one out of those three, believe it or not, that I'm the most disappointed with. And I'll explain my reasonings why later on if we get a chance. And then obviously we've got long-term injuries: Matip, Bajcetic, Doak. They're all probably second string anyway, other than Matip. I missed one. Endo should be back for tomorrow, which is
he was rested, was he?
Yeah, it's a big plus for us because it means we can play McAllister further forward, and he's just so much better when he's that little bit more further forward.
I love that you keep setting me up for these stats. So McAllister has scored 5 goals and 5 assists in his last 10 games. So putting him further forward.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
Did you see his goal against Sheffield United?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, it's an absolute banger, mate. Top corner.
I saw it. I just don't want to admit I saw it.
Yeah. Just going back to what Andy said at the beginning of the show, though, it was interesting to hear him say that United can't keep conceding and going behind. And it was actually one of my points about the game was going to be that for me, one of United's best chance tomorrow is to go for it from the beginning, because Liverpool have been so slow starting this season. Like that, the first 15, 20 minutes a game, we don't seem to wake up until we're 1-0 down. And that's why you've got that stat of, I think, 26 wins from behind, 26 points from behind or something like that. And if you watch Liverpool, you can see why. I'm not shocked or surprised if we go 1-0 down, even at Anfield. I'm at the point now where I'm expecting it, because you're
setting me up. You're setting me up again beautifully for another stat. I love stats. I'm so glad Barry's not here. Jurgen Klopp's side have scored 26 top flight goals this season in the final 15 minutes. 10 more than any other side.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is adding up to the facts, unfortunately. Yeah. So we'll move it on a little bit. Obviously, one of the questions I'm going to ask is both teams played 3 days ago. So I genuinely don't see there being much rotation on in terms of the squads, to be honest. I think Liverpool will be quite happy that we played 3 days ago, and F probably won't change his team all that much. So I was very cheeky. We're going to look at the last 5 games because they read better than looking at the last 10. So we've got a Man United 4-3 win, which was the FA Cup, which stopped the quadruple. Yay. Then there's obviously
quadruple anyway, mate. Don't worry about it.
Then there was the Liverpool, obviously, Man United 0-0 in December. Then there's the fixture there. It's just black for some reason. It's got a black line through it, and I can't see what the score was. It's really weird. That
7-0, mate.
No, they want that one. I don't know what it was. And then there was the Man United 2-1 win, which was that Ten Hag's first game or one of his first games.
Third game in, we'd lost the first 2, and then pressure was on him. Then it was like, if we don't beat Liverpool, in that, because Liverpool hadn't started well last season, and we were like both near the bottom. It was like, one of us has got to win here to start our season off. So it was like, literally, so lit the blue touch paper when we won against Liverpool in the third game of the season. So that's our season up and running now. So.
And then we had the 4-0 at Anfield, which was 4 days before my birthday. Absolutely set it up beautifully. Thank you. You're absolute bosses. So, question to Dan. I've not purposely come to you on this one, but I know how you feel about Rashford at times, so I'm glad I'm asking you first. Does Anthony get the nod over Rashford for this game based on the Chelsea performance? Or do you change something else? What would you do? Do you think Anthony should start or Rashford?
I think I'm going to shock you with my answer, and I go with Rashford. Just because...
Defend yourself, sir.
No, I will. I've been one of his biggest critics. Me and Dan have disagreed quite regularly on this. He would be somebody that I would look at getting rid of in the summer, personally, just because we'd get money for him and things like that. But I just think tomorrow, if we're going to have any chance, and it's a slim chance anyways, but we're going to have to offer something going forward. We're going to have an attacking threat. We're going to have to do something. And, you know, Liverpool, you know, they like to, you know, they'll probably dominate possession in parts of the game. So maybe that ball over the top for Rashford could be an option. You know, he played well in extra time in the cup game against them as well. And yeah, for me, I would play. I think Anthony done well against Chelsea, and he's shown little signs here and there, but I just think he doesn't offer enough in terms of goal threat. You know, I know that assist was brilliant at Chelsea, but it's about the only good thing he's done, really. So for me, I'd go with Rashford.
Andy?
I'm going to go the opposite. I'll start Anthony. I know I've been, you know, backing Marcus, and when he came on against Chelsea, I think there's one clip that went just viral. You know, I think Cole Palmer was on the ball, and literally Rashford was just almost like jogging to what I was like, put a foot in, just do something. It almost looked like when Rashford, he played most of the game just running out of legs and tired. It was just like, you're fresh, you should be at it. And I just think
it's happened more than once this season.
I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with Marcus, and I think we all are. And I think Rio Ferdinand said it on the overlap this week. We're starting to worry, and we're like, is this just more than football? And I know Rashford gave that interview like weeks and weeks ago saying about people questioning his commitment and saying he's fully committed, but I don't know. We're all trying to work out why the form from last season is not translated into this season. The way Anthony played on Thursdays, it's almost like he's finally shown why we actually signed him. You know, like for the first goal, he did so well to keep Fernandez's passing play, which led to Caicedo's mistake, and then he's taking on defenders, and beating them on 1 or 2 occasions, and also did well for the assist for Garnacho as well. When I saw that, I thought, God, he's hit that outside of his boot, and then I see Garnacho running. I thought Chelsea goalkeeper was running towards it as well. I was thinking, who's going to get there first? But luckily Garnacho did. But so it's probably one of Anthony's best displays in the United shirt, and he more than made up for enough, because he gave away the first penalty for Chelsea, but he more than made up for it and enough for it. So I just think he just gets the nod for me. But if Marcus can come on off the bench tomorrow and make a contribution, even better. So just, fight for your place, and fight yourself for Rashford, fight your way back into form. It's not, yes, it's been difficult this season, but if you can get back into some form before the end of the season, we'll do the team good, but himself as well. So yeah, we're just a bit concerned by him at the moment, but hopefully we can see the best of Rashford again at some point.
I'll slightly defend him. I know the clip you're talking about.
Yeah,
and he does chase the goalkeeper halfway up the pitch. And it genuinely looks to me that it was yes, he should. You could argue he should press a little bit more, but it looked like we'd made the tactical decision to keep shape and not press.
Right.
So he was sort of just shuffling across the pitch, which you see players do quite a lot. Can I just say as well, if you gave me a free £50 and said put a bet on who would say who, you both would have just shafted me completely, because I could have swore that would have been the other way around. I don't know where that's come from.
The only thing I would say about he's tracking back and stuff and running that, it's happened in previous games. The only thing that doesn't sit right with me is people are zooming in and filming him and making an agenda. people can see it with with their own eyes. You don't need are people going to be zooming in on Casemiro next? Because I think I ran more at work this morning than he did against Chelsea.
I mean,
Yeah,
during that Chelsea game, I'm not singling out Marcus. There was other players, and
yeah, that's what I mean.
I could hear it from the other fans during the stands as well. So I was like, it wasn't just. It was like saying, Bruno, I feel like every game he just runs himself into the ground trying to do the best for us. And even when I see him press, and he's like urging his teammates, I can do it, but I need some help with me as well. I can't do it all by myself. So, but yeah, it's just, I think Dale's point of view now in Ten Hag and how he's done. I think with Ten Hag at the moment, his formula embraces chaos, but some of those United players can't cope, and it's just like, some of those with United like to play a high tempo, high intensity game, a bit much like Liverpool, but with our players, at points, we just trip and fall flat on our faces at the key moments, like, giving away the penalty and then the Chelsea winner. So it's just like, do some of our players, do they have the physical and mental conditioning that, to do that? And I don't know whether it's beyond some of those players, and, if it's the case, then you've got to move on. And I think in the summer, we're expecting big changes, but it just, once the season ends, we're all eyes are going to be focusing on United, what's going on behind the scenes, what's Sir Jim and the team now. We've got sporting control, what they're going to do. So, but yeah, so that's my point.
For me, it's are they adept enough to do it? They couldn't do it for Solskjaer. They couldn't do it properly for Mourinho. They couldn't do it. I get it's different people that are supposedly coming in, etc. But are we now in restraints of financial fair play that we can make 12 changes to the team and it's going to happen? I'm not convinced that we are.
When Jurgen Klopp first came in and he tried, as he called it, heavy metal football, and trying to get the players up to the physical and mental, and some of them broke down and they were having injury crises as well. So, and it was inconsistent, a bit like us. So, but they worked it out, on the field, but off the field as well. So we sort of need to have a look at what our rivals did and see if we can implement it outside. But they've done something right. They've been, they've won a lot more trophies than us in the last 10 years, which...
Well, it's funny you should say that, Andy, because I was having this discussion the other day. I was saying that even now with Klopp moving on, Liverpool have started making moves off the pitch to counteract that, with Michael Edwards coming back in, stability at boardroom level, knowing exactly what the plan is. So as soon as it was announced that Alonso was no longer available or no longer a choice, he already had 4 more candidates ready to move on to. It's not completely disrupted everything they're doing. And that's what happens to Man U. It seems we miss out on a player and then we spend the summer chasing them to get him. There's no plan. It's like, I want that one. And that's it. If you don't get me that one, we've fudged it.
I was going to say, with Michael Edwards coming back, because now he's got even more senior role, so he will effectively... down to him. I know we'll have say like John Henry and others as well, but he will be making the decision on who the new manager is, and if how do you follow Jurgen Klopp? It's a bit like saying how do the manager following Fergie as well. It's just like, if it doesn't start working out, then people are looking at the decision makers. Well, remember Jurgen Klopp said about the new manager, he said, "I'm going to have no part of that. That's not me to decide." Whereas Fergie had his hand in picking his successor and didn't work out the way we all wanted. But I think Jurgen did the right things. I don't want to. That's when I leave. I'm leaving going out the door into the sunsets, because he just said, I remember him saying, "I'm not going to manage ever in the Premier League again." Or don't know. I feel like he's going to. It's either the German national team or maybe back in the Bundesliga. I just can't see him not. I know he's sort of hinting he'll never do anything again, but I don't know. It'd be a big loss to the game. He would.
Yeah. Obviously, as a Liverpool fan, watching him every week, post-match, pre-match, whatever, he looks knackered. Like, genuinely, like you can see it in his face.
He can't give it anymore.
Yeah, he just seems like he's given everything, and And when you're doing that week in, week out, and you've got some of the VAR decisions going against you, and you're battling against 115 charges and things like that, it's bad to take its toll. So
I think you can tell in his interviews as well, like he's getting very snappy and like biting people's heads off, and everyone gets like that, don't they? When they're stressed. And
he's done that before, though. He's done that
he has, yeah. But
I think
becoming more regular.
I think is it the NF? No fucks given stages of his art going. Do you know what I mean? He can't upset anyone, so he's just going to say what he wants and go. I think you've got to have that in your manager a little bit. I mean, I remember Fergie throwing people out of press conferences and out of Carrington and things like that. So
there's been a few journalists banned in there.
Yeah.
And some have come back in and gone. But yeah. It's like Fergie's like
you ask a stupid question, you're going to get a stupid answer, aren't you? So I think sometimes that's what happens. Consistently asking questions about Salah leaving or whoever, and it must be draining as a person to answer the same question 50 times a week and give the same answer. They know it's not going to change. You know the answer's not going to change. Why do they keep answering? Do you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, Barry. So if you're watching, stop asking me if I think Ten Hag's going to change his 11 because he's not. No, well, yeah, it is like that. We got to a point, Dale, where on the shows, Barry don't even ask me anymore. He just skips past me because he knows that I'm going to say the same thing as I said last week and the same thing I said the week before because it's not going to change. It's just the same. So I'll ask Dan. Dan, I've started a comment up here. In defence, to a number would start Maguire and Evans. Now, I'm not convinced that Evans is fit.
Nah.
So the question is he going to start Kamwala and Maguire, or do you think he's going to come up with some crazy solution that we can't see?
I mean, I just think it's going to be Maguire and Kamwala. That's what I've got in my head. Because I don't know the full fitness of certain players, because like you say, it's kind of been kept quiet. But it wouldn't surprise me if they've got Varane in ice baths and people like doing like vigor, just trying to get somebody fit, because if it does go drastically wrong tomorrow, which is possible, and Kamwala's playing, what's that going to do to his confidence if we get beat 4-5-0 tomorrow? For me, I think that's maybe why we haven't heard much, because Ten Hag's maybe going through all the quickest recovery ways or pain-killing injections to try and get someone or anyone fit for that game to try and save Kamwala from it, because I just worry if it goes wrong, how much damage that could do to him. But I think that might be the two that he'll go with.
Does this not underlie the problem, Andy? Is this not exactly why I'm correct when I say that Ten Hag doesn't rotate his squad enough? Should Kamwala not have played against Brentford to stop Evans and Varane breaking down? Bit of foresight, do you know what I mean? Or am I being completely harsh?
I don't know, it's just the injury crisis. It's like the Brentford Martinez coming on, but that was because of Victor Lindelof being injured. I thought when Martinez was on the bench, I thought if we like 2 or 3-0 up, then bring him on for like the last 15-20 minutes, but was kind of forced into. Johnny Evans was on the bench that night as well. I was thinking, well, Martinez had just come back. Evans hadn't, he'd already been in the squad, so he was like more ready to come on than Martinez was. And I just jokingly thought, can we put a call out to Phil Jones, see where he is, just get him back out, and Jones and Maguire. I just thought just for one game only. But,
throwback.
Jones is probably still injured.
Well, whatever Jones has done in that under-18s is incredible, because they've lost one game this season.
Oh, yeah,
and look away, they beat Liverpool 9-1 today in the under-18s. Madness.
I know. I've just seen the goal. I was like, what's it half time? 4 or 5. I was like, I'm reading that right on, and then read 9-1. I thought, and it was away. It was away at Liverpool. That's got me as well. I was thinking that wasn't even at home.
Do you know what frustrates me? And Dale will be probably best to answer this. If I said we was really, really short of injuries and we've got an 18-year-old in the under-18s that's good enough, just chuck him in, is that something Klopp would do? Or, and I'm not having a dig at the Man United fans. I'm a Man United fan myself. I'm just saying, I find too many people say this to me, and I've heard it quite a lot, and that is, oh, you can't. The weight of the shirt's too heavy. Would Klopp do that?
No, well, you've just got to look at this season and to know the answer to that. He's got Bradley playing at right back because he could easily play Gomez there. He could easily play Gomez there when he's got Tsimikas, he's got Robbo. So Robbo's injured. He puts Gomez at left back because Tsimikas was carrying a little knock, and Bradley plays it right, and it's been brilliant. And he's only a young lad. You've got, I think people forget that Harvey Elliott's only 20, and he's played over 100 games for Liverpool now. And he's coming on and he's having a big impact when he does come on. I don't know if you follow England under 21s at all, but I think he's got like 7 in 5 for them or something stupid like that. So yeah, he would definitely do it. I mean, I don't know if you can remember a couple of seasons back. I think we were chasing you guys down when we was having a really bad defensive crisis. I think we had Van Dijk was injured, Matip was injured. We had Phillips and Williams at centre back, and they're 2 young lads got us in the Champions League. So he definitely has faith in these youngsters, and he would throw them in. Look at the League Cup final. He chucks on a couple of youngsters, and they win the game. You've got Bobby Clark, who's another youngster that's getting regular game time when he's needed. He doesn't do it for the sake of it, obviously. I mean, if the first team guys are ready and they can play, then they play. But yeah, he's got no qualms about throwing them in. He believes in their ability. He'll chuck them in there, which is something that. Go on.
Do you know what I find really frustrated? And it's annoying because one of the best things about Ten Hag is that he came into Man United and he went into that youth team and he went into the under 21s and he said, I want them to play this way. They need to play this kind of football. And they play in that football and they're unbeaten. So surely some of them lads must know these tactics that Ten Hag's trying to force in this first team. So why is he not? And it's a frustration for me. Why is he not just gone? Do you know what? Maguire, do you know what? McTominay, do you know what? I know McTominay is a bad example because he saved his job a couple of times, but do you know what? However, I'm just going to give one of them a go because they're doing it at that level. Yes, I get it. The step up is massive, but these games this season that we've lost, like Fulham, why not just give it a go?
I totally agree with it. Totally agree. But the only difference, sorry, Dale, just the only thing I would say here is for the environment. So you're bringing these youngsters into Liverpool who are a winning team. They are winning trophies. You know, we've done it for years. You know, we had players like Kieran Richardson coming in and you didn't notice them really because they were next to Scholes, Keane, Beckham on the wing or Ronaldo or whatever. And it was like, it's that kind of thing where they're coming into a Liverpool team that's still got Salah, you know, these players that are going to win them games. Whereas if we bring these youngsters in, as much as I think I agree, if anyone had a set of balls on them and said, you know what, Rashford, you're not doing it. You know what, Bruno, you're not doing it. We're going to bring in these kids that are going to, you know, give them a run of 4 or 5 games at the end of the season, see how they get on. They can't be any worse. You know, if they had the balls to do that. But I just think the environment we're in, the way the fans are at the moment as well, we're all so divided. I'm not entirely sure it's the right environment for the young players for us. But I totally get why Klopp does it because it makes total sense and he's building for the future already and he's not even going to be there.
Yeah. I just wanted to make a point on that actually. It's a good point that you make, Dan, because it is a lot easier to bring these guys in when you've got a team that's winning and everyone's full of confidence. The confident players, the more experienced players can nurture. They're not watching their own back, so they can watch the young lads back. I mean, read into this what you will, but if United's under 18s are unbeaten this season, that's excellent. I think today the 9-1 against Liverpool, we were playing our 16-year-olds because a lot of the players that would be in that team are actually in the first team squad. So that is probably a good indication of the difference, I guess, is the players that maybe would have our under 18s or whatever winning every game and being at the top of that P2 or whatever it is are actually involved in the first team setup. Your likes of your Ben Dokes, your Jaden Dans, Connor Bradley, Bobby Clark, all these players could easily be playing at that level down but they're actually getting chances in the first team and being involved in the first team environment, training with the first team. So maybe it's not actually, I don't know, maybe there's something in that. Maybe there is, the players are showing that they can do it, that they're unbeaten in that under 18s or P2. And yeah, go in and give them a chance. Like, what have you got to lose, really?
Well, absolutely nothing in the Premier League this season because that's gone. We're going to go through some comments. NT said a bit earlier on, since we'll be on the back foot, I'd imagine tactically more logical to play Rashford, and he thinks that's what Ten Hag will do. Although on form, maybe he shouldn't be in the team, which is a fair shout. We've seen Ten Hag do that a few times. I think Amrabat, PJ saying, I think Amrabat should give more minutes, game time to improve his fitness. Amrabat was the biggest lie that's been sold to me in about 20 years, honestly. Really disappointed. He looked like he was going to be the solution for everything. And I don't know what's happened in training or whatever, but he just hasn't been, has he? Then NT saying, I think he means me on this one. I wouldn't go for that, Dan, just because we're able to drop points against anyone. So resting any first team players on and not playing our strongest 11 is probably not a great idea. And then he backs it up with, not that it makes a difference, which is fantastic. There's another one there. Andy, this is one for you, mate. You go to the stadium every week. You travel away most weeks. You put your body, your absolute nightmare, torture. You hate London. What time did you get back from Chelsea?
It was 10 to 2.
Oh, my life. I was probably still awake, absolutely infuriated still. Either way, would you rather see some youth players between now and the end of the season? I'm going to asterisk this with in the Premier League because I still think you put your strongest 11 out in the FA Cup.
This is it's a difficult. I'm just thinking what happens tomorrow as well because I'm just
and not tomorrow.
I'm just. I know mathematically still possible 5th place if that Champions League if it is going to be. So it is. I just feel like could the win tomorrow just galvanise and just give us that emphasis to try and chase Spurs down because I'm just thinking the Spurs just going to be Spursy and just drop more points because they've still got to play Arsenal, City, and Liverpool. So potentially,
did they play them in a row as well?
I think it's quite close together.
Yeah, it is close. It is close together. Yeah.
I just the way I'm just thinking our injury crisis and events, we might be having to throw some of the youth defenders in, but at the moment, it all depends. If we don't win tomorrow, then I'm just thinking the season's petering out. Yeah, throw through more the younger players in, give them a chance to see what they can do. But yeah, you want to gradually move them in. So like Garnacho and Mainu as well. I think that's one thing you can say about Ten Hag. He's just developed them and he's just giving them their chance. He isn't. He's like nurturing them along, so he's not. So yeah, it's a difficult one. So it's almost like what happens tomorrow. It's just like set the course for the rest of the seasons. Like can we get the win tomorrow and then possibly chase down Spurs? It's been a long old season, and there's been results in the Premier League this season. You just never know. So
I love the optimism. I really do.
I'm just checking out my window, see if there's any pigs flying.
If we do finish 5th, and it is in some ways be happy, but not really happy over the course of the season because this season I just feel like it should have been like last season. We overachieved last season, and this season what we should have had. Everyone went 10 hours.
They probably should be flipped.
Well, we weren't expecting. We just wanted to see a little bit, some progression, and then, we was going to go through some ups and downs because we overachieved. And expectations have risen. I was thinking we'll kick on even more. And it's just like it's almost like I don't want to say back to square one, but we just this season should have been last year and just taking a few steps at a time. But we just regressed a bit slightly. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow and then the rest of the season.
Yeah, again, it's just the frustrating thing for me is this happened. This same thing that I'm seeing now every week happened to Solskjaer, and it was his sticking by players that were letting him down or just didn't fit his system anymore that basically killed him off as the manager. And I don't want that to happen to Ten Hag going into the end of the season because he was just a bit too, I wouldn't say naive, but not prepared to make a. We've seen him make big stands, so why not make him a few more if you feel like these players aren't doing the business? We'll move on anyway. We'll move on to the next part. So we'll start with Dale on this one because when Ten Hag said it, my head immediately hit my desk in frustration. And I'd imagine a Liverpool fan and Klopp would be just joyfully rubbing their hands together at what he said. So he basically said that he can't do anything with the stat that keeps getting thrown at him in terms of the amount of shots we are conceding on goal. Now, as a Liverpool fan,
Premier League, isn't it?
The most in Europe.
Oh, wow. Oh,
in Europe's top 5 leagues since January. Just to pile on the pressure there. It's just, you've got to be absolutely buzzing that he's...
Wait, sorry. Ten Hag said he can't do anything about United conceding shots.
So he didn't mean...
He doesn't know he's the manager, right?
Yeah. No, he didn't mean he couldn't do anything tactically. What he was trying to say to the reporter was, you keep throwing these stats at me, but we've got one of the best 4 or 5 defenses in the league. So he's saying that it's a misleading fact because the defense is actually still all right. It's the fact that we're not scoring goals that's a bigger problem, really. But he's talking... It's just, but I mean, and you must be happy with that because you've got to be going into that game thinking we're going to get at least 15 shots.
Well, I think Salah and Darwin are pretty high up on the shots taken
conversion rate.
Well, not conversion, just shots taken. Really, they take a hell of a lot of shots. Darwin and Salah do so, and obviously, the more shots they take, the more chance you've got of scoring a goal. I mean, to me, that's mad that he said that. I can't imagine Klopp ever saying that. Publicly, at least there's nothing I can do. Well, you better do something about it. It's your job to stop it happening. And I don't know if I agree with the train of thought of like the defense is pretty good because I don't know how you can be pretty good defensively and conceded the most amount of shots in Europe since January. Like those two things.
We've got a goalkeeper that's saved 5 XG in the Premier League.
Yeah,
which is the
exactly.
highest.
Yeah, those two things seem a bit contradictory to me. So it was something that I was going to bring up actually. The fact that you guys have conceded so many shots, and we've got a couple of guys who do not need a second invitation to have a shot. So yeah, that's baffling to hear that. And yeah, we would obviously. I mean, if we're all straight talking with each other, I think we all expect that Liverpool win tomorrow.
Never.
If I think if we play the best that we can play, and you guys play the best that you can play,
4-3 win.
I think Liverpool win. Yeah. But I know you guys don't like bringing it up because it's a pain. I wouldn't want to bring it up either if I was a United fan. But the 7-0. I don't know if you remember.
I've checked the results, mate. There's 5 of me, and that one.
Yeah,
7-0. There. It's just blank.
Yeah. When was that?
Yeah, I must have dreamt it, lads. No, but an interesting thing about that was, and I don't know if you can remember, and maybe it wasn't all United fans, but I feel like United before that game were pretty cocky going in because Liverpool were in a bit of poor form, and United were playing really well. And I don't know if you can remember Keane and Neville laughing at Graham Souness because he thought Liverpool might get a result out of the game.
No, they were just laughing at Graham Souness.
Well, the thing is though, Danny, I've been a Liverpool fan long enough to know that you don't take anything for granted. Anything could happen tomorrow. Anything could happen. Like we were all sat here a couple of weekends ago saying that we were going to easily beat you in the FA Cup, and it just didn't turn out that way. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. But I think if you're looking at the stats, like our away record's pretty good. Like we played 14, won 8, drawn 2, drawn 4, lost 2. One of those being the Spurs game, which I mean, if we lose the league by a point,
That was the Miles offside call, wasn't it? Where Diaz was just miles past the defender.
Yeah, it was basically in goal. No, so Yeah, it's everything points to a Liverpool win, but it's football, isn't it? So you never know. You never know. But I wouldn't be happy with Klopp if he said something like that. Even if he did.
I know Dan was not happy with this comment because I follow him on Twitter. So
Yeah,
I saw the immediate fume. So Dan, obviously, I don't think he meant that he couldn't do anything about it tactically. I think what he was trying to say is that it's overhyped as a stat and it's not really that big of a problem when we're not conceding the goals. But do you not just find that absolutely mental? We should not be conceding 30 shots a game.
It was crazy. Like when I seen it, that was more annoying than anything else that happened in the Brentford game, than the Chelsea game. I was like, how, even if he says, I can't do anything tactically, even mentality, something like, stop conceding all these chances. I think his words specific were, I'm not concerned because they weren't going in. I was like, yeah, but it's only a matter of time before they do go in. Like, I said I done a TikTok last week, and I was like, there's a hammering coming. I said the statistics, the law of averages tells you that at some point these chances are going to start going in. Everyone isn't going to keep missing. Anana isn't going to keep pulling off worldy saves. Like, there's going to be a game where I'm hoping it's not tomorrow. Someone's going to just turn up and absolutely annihilate and have 35 shots, but score 9 of them. Like, law of averages tells you that is going to happen. And for him to come out and say, I'm not concerned because they're not going in, I was like that's an elite level manager saying that. I'd be annoyed if a Sunday League manager was saying that. I'd be like, you're still in a position to try and change this, try and fix it. And yeah, that was for me why I was just like, I'm still in the middle about Ten Hag, as in, I do think he needs maybe some more time, and we need to, get rid of some players and things like that. But some of the stuff he comes out with reminds me a bit of Ollie towards the end, and I loved Ollie as well. But I just think it's coming across either as delusional or he's just point blank lying to our faces, one or the other, and it's not a good look either way, really.
What do you think, Andy? And NT made this exact point. Do we really think he's being honest in his presses? He doesn't owe that to the journalists, and what is said in front of the cameras isn't necessarily what is said behind the scenes.
Obviously, he's not going to reveal everything in a press conference. He's going to keep some things back, and of course, because if we gave everything away, then the opposition's going to know exactly how we're going to set up, what we're going to do, and then they'll be prepared for every situation. So he's got to put a spin on the answers he's given to say, oh, this is what we might do, we might not do. It's just like, you can't. It's almost like put all our eggs in one basket. And I just think, yes, 10 Hag's going to reveal certain things, but it's like some things have got to stay within the confines of Carrington and, between the players, because otherwise, well, things get said or leaked out, or just sometimes delusional lie is not. It's just.
That's a bit strong.
Can I come in on this one, guys?
Yeah.
I sort of agree with what you're saying there, Andy. You do need to keep. You can't wear your heart on your sleeve. You can't give all your.
Jürgen Klopp, he won't. He's not going to say. He's going to reveal certain things, but he won't.
I will say this though.
Show the whole house. It's like, this is what I've got.
Some of the stuff that he does say though, as an outsider,
mad.
I think after the Chelsea game yesterday, he said you dominated the game, you dominated the
ball.
Even
I don't quite agree with that.
And I just sit there and I'm thinking, if he genuinely believes that, United are in trouble. Because then as a United fan, it must erode your confidence in him a little bit to be thinking, well, does he? If that's actually what he thinks, and he thinks that we're dominating these games, then we've got problems. So that's just
I don't personally think there's any harm in the manager coming out saying that we could have done this better. I'm not saying that in his pre-match press conference say this is how we're going to set up, this is how we're going to do things, even though you can kind of predict it anyways. So it doesn't matter what he says because you know what he's going to set up like anyways. But I think after the game, there's no harm in him saying we shouldn't be losing games like that in that manner against Chelsea. We should have done better against Brentford. We weren't up to the mark for 85, 90 minutes, pretty much. You know, I don't think there's any harm in saying that. It's just, it's a bit of transparency for the fans, because if it does come across as delusional when he says stuff like that, even if he's lying or he's spinning the truth or whatever, it comes across to the fans as delusion.
I was going to say Ten Hag, but some say, yes, he's single-mindedness in his determination. I think that can be an admirable quality, you know, as he's trying to get success, but you also argue sometimes there's a thin line between that, you know, and being stubborn and, you know, ignorance of the situation. But I just think with Ten Hag, what you want to hear, like the performances in the last week against Chelsea and Brentford, is like some kind of connection between him and the concerns that us fans have said. And I agree, sometimes Ten Hag, in some comments he has made, you know, is causing a bit more alarm, and does, you know, some would argue, is he taking the situation seriously? I know he's probably taking every situation, like the ending of the Chelsea game. He says he was just, you can't be doing that in games, and it's just like, you can. I get why he's trying to talk up the positives, because, you know, after those performances, you're trying to find something, you know, that, you know, keeps the players' heads up. So, but
yeah, you don't want to bury him if confidence is already low because of results and things like that. You don't want to be coming out and absolutely burying him. But at the same time, you've got to treat the fan base, whether that's us at Liverpool, you guys at United, whoever, especially in this Twitter world where everybody's constantly online and talking and going over things. Like, you guys aren't stupid. You can watch the game and know that you didn't dominate a game or whatever. So I don't know. I just think maybe if it was me, if it was Klopp saying that sort of thing, because Klopp will come out, and if we've played bad, he will say we weren't good enough. We need to start games better. We can't. I think he said it about the FA Cup game against you guys. We started really slow, and he spoke on that and said that we need to improve on it. So yeah, I don't. For me, it would erode a little bit of confidence in. Is he just saying it to be positive, or is he saying it because he's just simply blinded to the truth? Well, I don't know.
So I'm going to slightly defend him, ever so slightly, not hugely, but I do think in these games, in the Chelsea one in particular, because his brand of football is chaotic. So no matter which way you look at it, like, you would say that he had a lot of control at Ajax. He did. It was in a weaker league in as a whole. But he had the ability to keep the ball better in midfield. But they were chaos. They were very much win the ball high, get forward quickly. I think sometimes, like against Chelsea, he will see things that maybe people that aren't aware of tactics don't see just watching, where you were a pass away from a goal, but they pick a wrong decision. So in his mind, he's thinking, if we could just make that pass, then this would be a lot different. We've seen it at times where we had a period at the start of the season we were dominating 20 minutes and not scoring, and then we kept conceding. But the actual football for the first 20 minutes was really good. Dale mentioned it to me a few weeks, last week. The start that we made against Liverpool was nothing like we'd seen for months and months and months, and it came out of absolute nowhere. So I do think these points in this game where he's thinking, these players just took that chance that we've created by playing this way, we'd be a goal up and we'd be in much better footing. And then it happens where we'll get 2 up and then we still can't close out the game to get young players on and stuff. So I do see where he's coming from a little bit, but there is so many times I've sat there this season in particular and I've actively avoided the press conference after the game, or I've taken myself to bed so I ain't got to hear it, because some of the stuff he's come out, so it's just made me go, what? What did he watch? Because it wasn't the same as me.
I remember one specific game, Dan, Forest away. We were both on All for United on here, and he just done his press conference, and Barry was like, "Do you want to hear it?" And we both went, "No, no."
Absolutely.
And I'm sure he'd come out with a spin in that game as well, and that was one of the worst games we've played this season. Yeah. Forest away.
I'm just looking at the stats now, Danny, for the Chelsea game, and I know they only tell you so much, but Chelsea had more possession, more shots on target, more shots, more touches, more passes, more corners, less fouls conceded.
The only about fouls conceded in that game.
The only metrics. Well, yeah, the penalties were a bit dodgy, weren't they? The only metrics that United are ahead on are tackles and clearances. So yeah. How you can come out and say you dominated the game, I don't understand.
I think it's just because in some of the transitions, they're so some of the chances are glaring. So in his head, he's thinking, why they're not taking that chance?
Yeah.
That is a dominate. Maybe it's a translation thing. He's using the word domination, and it's not in the right context. I want to move on a little bit because we've incredibly been going for an hour. I want to talk about VAR at the very end. I was going to talk about player injuries as well. So we're going to do a quick prediction before we move on to those subjects. I just wanted to put this comment up. I don't know why. Something in my head just said, "Oh, pop that on the screen because that's a nice little thing there, isn't it?" Yeah. So that's quite nice. So we'll start with Dan. What do you think the score is going to be? I'll let you name one goal scorer.
I've said for weeks that we'll lose to Brentford, lose to Chelsea, beat Liverpool, and lose to Coventry.
If that's true, I'm going to come and find you.
So going with that, I've said for a few weeks now that we were going to beat Liverpool, but judging by what I've seen over the last week, I can't even do it with a straight face. So I'm gonna go. I'll be optimistic. 3-1 Liverpool.
I'm going to go to you, Andy, because I feel like you're going to be there. You've got the spirit of the 4-3. You've got the spirit of this little man. Yeah. So come on, tell me positive.
If I was going to say, if the game is half as good as it was 3 weeks ago, then we're in for a right treat. I mean, Liverpool played their part in that game, and like I say, if we get another epic game tomorrow, then obviously we've got to put behind what happened at Chelsea to one side because tomorrow is even bigger. So I feel like we're going to just take some heart from 3 weeks ago and pull something out of the hat again. So
a dead rabbit.
Hopefully not. I'm gonna go the classic 2-1 to us. But I'm just trying to think who would score the winning goal. I would love it if it's Højlund.
Oh, that'd be nice. I wanted to talk about Højlund, but I don't think we're gonna have time. PJ's gone for 2-1 Liverpool. Please get your scores in the comment section, the regulars. I know you're still here. Please like and subscribe as well. I think I broke the like and subscribe button, so I mean, try and get it up there because Barry will kill me otherwise. I knew this was going to happen. I knew Newcastle fans would be back today of all days because they won a game, and now they just—is it a point? Yeah, a point. So they want a Liverpool win, and he's going for 3-1. I appreciate the comment. I'm not going to say anything too harsh. It was a good win for you today, to be fair. I'm going to go for. I'm going with the same as Dan. I think it's going to be 3-1 Liverpool. The optimism for the Premier League season is completely gone for me. It's really annoying as well because if you look at the results around us at the minute, Villa fell off a cliff. So if we would have picked up the points, we dropped 5 points in 2 games. Would have picked up those points, we'd be right behind Aston Villa and Aston Villa, and we got 2 games in hand. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's frustrating. I think 3-1. I'm just going to throw another little stat in. Mo Salah could become the first opposition player to score in 4 consecutive Premier League matches at Old Trafford if he was to score against us. And do you know what? I think he's probably going to do it. And another record. Why did I put these Liverpool records in? Salah is level alongside Alan Shearer with 10 goals against Manchester United. So another goal would put him top. I've got some Man United ones, but I'll be honest, they're all absolutely devastatingly poor. I'll throw one in. They faced 225 shots in 2024, which is more than any other side in Europe's top division. And then that's pretty much it in the United ones. That's it. Liverpool perspective, I think we know where this is going to go. It's a fair enough prediction. So what are you going for, Dale? Has he crashed?
Well, he maybe has.
I think he's crashed. That could be a really good sign. Do you know what I mean?
He was probably just about to say 8-0 or something. So
7-1. What you don't know is I've muted him. Let's see. Let's see whoever he drops back in a second. I'll message him. Connor has gone for 1-4, which I would make the assumption that is to Liverpool. Seems we're at home. Andy don't like that.
Bottom is I always go. I think I've said it on here before. Absolutely, I always go into every game looking to win. I'm like, I'm like, when we don't win. So, but no, I always go in thinking, believing we can win. So, say anything can happen in a 90-minute game. So we haven't got extra time tomorrow. So it's all going to be done in 90 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've said for a couple of weeks now, like, because we don't know what we're getting. I genuinely said we'll struggle against Brentford, we'll struggle against Chelsea, beat Liverpool, and then probably struggle against Coventry. I said because that the only consistent thing about us is that we're so inconsistent.
Yeah, I think the issue, we spoke about this previously. If he doesn't beat Coventry to get to the FA Cup final, I think that is nailing the coffin for Ten Hag. I don't think he survives a loss against Coventry City. I really don't. If we got to the final and we lost, that's different. But I think if he goes out in the semis to Coventry, I don't see how he survives.
It depends on the final as well. I think if we get City and we get absolutely annihilated as well, that could be a nail as well.
But a lot of teams get annihilated by City, don't they?
Yeah, I know, but there's ways to lose games, isn't there?
I'm just saying, if this is if Coventry do well, like I said, Coventry have got nothing to lose in 2 weeks' time. But if they did pull off, that does it mean the end for Ten Hag? For me, no. I've still seen him there next season. Look, give him the tools he needs, because obviously we all know what's it's been before Sir Jim came in, what's been like under the Glazers. I'm just like, now Sir Jim's now casting his eye over everything. Well, give him that chance, because let's see from what I'm reading, Ten Hag's just going to be the head coach. He will evolve in some of the decision making. I think it was written into his contract about players coming into us that he'll have a veto. Well, at the moment, he can't get rid of that out of his contract. But I don't know whether they're going to do it more like Liverpool's way of how they recruit. So Jurgen Klopp has a say, but it's done by committee. So, which I think United also, but Ten Hag, he has that caveat of a veto. It's like, well, these are the players we've identified, and he goes, no, yes. Whereas United sort of want a committee, like, well, these are the players we want, these are the ones we're going to look to sign. You coach, you put them out on the pitch, and deliver the results that, well, hopefully deliver the results we're all wanting.
We all want this. We all want this cup final, because I want Mason Mount. No, genuinely, I've dreamt this.
I'm so torn on that one.
I want Mason Mount to score the winner against Chelsea in like the 95th minute, whip off his shirt and just run in front of the fans, whipping it Giggsy style. Because not only would it end his FA Cup final, do you know his record in finals is shocking, isn't it? He's lost like 5 at Wembley or something like that. After the treatment he got at Chelsea, which annoyed me even more, the fact that we lost. Yeah, that was frustrating.
I did love the chant we came up with Chelsea. Well, when Mason Mount come on and he was playing the ball around, so I was like, well, because we started singing "He left you because you were shit." So I was like, and he was squaring up to one player I couldn't stand was Enzo Fernandez. I haven't seen it bad, but it looked like he elbowed Mane. Casemiro went for it. I thought that's a Brazil-Argentina thing, and then Mason Mount was like. And I don't think it was having that. Well, when Chelsea had scored their winner, it was like him and Matt and Fernandez were, having a bit of back and forth. But I was just like, I wish somebody. Yeah, wasn't a fan of Enzo Fernandez on Thursday. It was like, hopefully we can get. By the way, revenge against Chelsea in the FA or City for last season. I'm like. Almost want to stop another treble winning season or a quadruple.
I was just about to say that with City, actually. I was like, it could be another second leg on their treble again.
I will state this: our treble's better than theirs.
We're not getting into that today, boys. So my brother came back for a second there, but he was messing with his camera and I couldn't see him. So we'll give him a second. Wait. Are you ready? Are you good? Are you alive?
I'm alive.
Right.
My internet's not.
Your internet's not. We need your prediction for the Liverpool game. Do we let him do it now? Yeah, go on then. Prediction for the Liverpool game now.
Prediction. I think I'm just looking at your last 5. You've got 1 win in 5. 1 win in 5, 1 draw.
Is that in all competitions or Premier League?
Premier League.
Yeah, that's
Um,
probably right. Maybe 2 wins.
if I'm being conservative, I'd go 2-1 Liverpool. But I do think 3-1 is probably, and it wouldn't surprise me if you guys went 1-0 up as well. Because I think you'll start strong. I do. I think if you start like you did in the cup game, I think you'll get a goal because we just seem to be slow off the mark this season for one reason or another. But then I do think just with you guys having a few issues at the back and us getting a few players back now, so we can make some substitutions later on in the game, and our strong finish to the game. Yeah, I do think it'll probably be 3-1. He says. Been with every.
NT's got a lovely message for you there, mate.
He'd have to get rid of his mother as well, NT.
Yeah, he told me to do that a few weeks ago. I'm trying, NT. I'm trying. So I want to just move on just to the end, just Dan and Andy quickly. I've seen a lot of things mentioned about the injuries this season, and I just want you to list 3 players at the club that you would basically say they're that injury prone that the club needs to move them on. So just the first 3 players that come to mind. I'm going to make Dan go first. Feel like he's ready.
I've got two came straight into my head. Varane for one. He's good when he plays, but you can't rely on him. Shout out to Tone, Luke Shaw. I think he's had more than enough chances. He's great when he plays, but when does he play?
Tone's never coming back on this channel now because of you, Dan.
Well, just get him on when I'm not on. Keep us apart.
Do you know what? He's absolutely amazing here to me. He's named 2 players in Varane and Shaw, and I'm absolutely stunned that he's not gone for who I thought he would.
I'm thinking on the spot here. Trying to think of a third. I'm just trying to think.
Go on then,
Martial's out of contract, isn't he?
Oh yeah. I suppose that's probably why you've not said him then, because that's the first person I would have said.
Oh yeah, I think he's out of contract, so obviously he would go anyways.
But they're the 3 you would think of when we talk about injury-prone players.
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh, you done that? Oh, there you go. There you look at this. He works in computers. He's a wizard. Change your camera. What about you, Andy? 3 players that you would class as injury-prone at Man United.
Well, Martial came to mind straight away, but I thought it was down to out of contract. I don't know where to put Luke Shaw in there. Just this. I just feel like in the summer he'll get fit again. He'll have competition, and he'll just go on to have a good season again. So I'm just like, so when Luke Shaw has competition, you see the best of him. Malacia, I'm like,
I forgot about him.
But, he had his first season there. This season we've hardly seen him, but that's another story. And I'm just thinking he deserves his chance again at United. So just thinking about, it's mainly our defence has been injured mostly this season. I'm just thinking, I think Varane's going to go in the summer anyway. So yeah, Martial, naming players that probably are all going to go out of contract anyway. So I think is Varane out of contract?
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah, I think Varane is.
So naming players that are all going to go anyway.
Yeah. What I'm hearing though is the same players. It's the same players, isn't it? It's Shaw, it's Martial, and it's Varane. I
wouldn't necessarily get rid of Shaw, but
Shaw. The only reason why you wouldn't get rid of Shaw, but he is injury prone no matter which way you look at it. He's missed far too many games of football. I think the thing with Shaw is I'm a little more lenient with Shaw because of the injury he sustained. Mm-hmm. It was a big injury. It was a bad injury. This tough to recover from. Varane's just seemed to be niggles here and there, and I know I'm not going to criticize him too much in terms of the head injuries have played an issue for him this season, the concussion and stuff like that. And then Martial's the same. It seems to be like they made a straw every time they run, an injury appears.
I was going to say one more player, and I kind of don't want to say it because I love this player as well.
Don't you say Harry Maguire.
No, it's not. I was thinking what he did last season. I'm just
Casemiro.
Casemiro, and I'm just like, but you could. I don't know whether because these injuries this season, it just feels like in Chelsea's game a bit, trying to get back up to the pace of everything. I'm just like,
I think he might go, in the summer.
Niggly injuries have just cost him a little bit of something. I'm just like, yeah.
Right.
Depends how ruthless.
I wanna shift on to the last topic, which is VAR refereeing decisions. I've seen some of the decisions today, and I nearly swore. I'm just baffled. I'm absolutely baffled by what I'm seeing this season, and obviously everyone can have their little minute say on it. Have you all seen the Wolves goal that's been disallowed today?
I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I've just heard. And
I've seen it, Danny.
Right. I just don't get it. I don't get it anymore. Right. When you see it, so can you remember? I think it was Ake scored, a Kanji jumped over the ball.
Yeah.
It's the most clear offside you'll ever see in your life. The goal's given. I don't know how the goal's given, but it's given. Okay. This one is, try and think of the most opposite that one could be. So he's jumping over the ball. This player's nowhere near the ball. The goalkeeper could possibly get that ball. The goalkeeper's never reaching this ball. The argument for me is not whether he is offside or not offside. It's his interference. The goalkeeper's never saving that today. Not in a million years.
I think that's the egregious thing for me, mate. Because by the letter of the law, which I hate saying because the law's daft, but he's stood in the line of sight of the goalkeeper. So, but I 100% agree with what you're saying. Even if that player's not there, the goalkeeper still isn't saving it. And the only reason I'm sort of more on the side of I'm glad it got disallowed because at least they're being consistent with it, because Salah got one disallowed earlier on in the season for virtually the same thing, except for he wasn't like for this one, guys. The Wolves player is literally stood on top of the goalkeeper's toes, and the one that Salah did, he was maybe 2-3 yards away. So I can see why they've disallowed it, because they did it as a subjective offside decision. Because obviously
subjective offside.
Yeah, because it's whether the referee thinks that he's interfering with play or not.
But he wasn't.
Well,
offside's offside. You're either offside or you're not.
What I would say is,
unless you're playing against Spurs, and then
does the player affect the goalkeeper's ability to see the ball and B, dive for the ball?
But the problem is, you're never going to know that, are you? There's only one person who knows that, and that's the goalkeeper.
Yeah, and if it's subjective, then it's purely just the referee's opinion, anyways, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the thing. So they brought VAR in, but we're still just going off the referee's opinion, regardless.
Yeah, so just do that anyway.
Yeah,
the other one I wanted to bring up, and I'm gonna say Dale's not allowed to really comment on this one because it affected Liverpool more than anybody. There's a penalty in the Arsenal game today, right? And I think it's a penalty. I think it is a penalty. On first viewing, I didn't think it was a penalty. However, Howard Webb came on the TV the other day and he said these words. Yeah, well, Doku slightly gets the ball before he kicks McAllister in the chest. So it can't be a penalty because he got the ball first. Lamptey got the ball today before he touches Jesus. So how is it a penalty? You're not allowed to talk, though. Dan, make it make sense, please.
So I watched the Brighton Arsenal game and I thought it was a clean tackle to begin with. I thought he got the ball. And then when you watch it back, he does just get a little nick on the ball. So I can see why it was given. But to me, the Liverpool one, like even if he does get the ball, he's still endangering his opponent. His foot was like up to his chest. Like
you mean
even if he's got
to the chest, it's not a good tackle.
But obviously, it depends what team it is, doesn't it? If it's Man City, yeah, you can get away with GBH if you're Man City. But honestly, like I just think the Arsenal one, I can see why it was given, and in hindsight, looking back, it was a penalty. Yeah. But you just want consistency, and we're just never going to get it. We're never, ever, ever going to get it because of stupid words like subjective, because it's still just opinions. You know, if us four were refereeing games, we'd all give different decisions because it's all subjective. Offsides and things like that shouldn't be subjective. You're either offside or you're not. You know, it's like the ball being over the line. It's either over the line or it's not.
Well, you asked Brighton. Sorry,
I knew you
Newcastle
were
is not
gonna
over
say
the
it.
line. You asked Man United, it is over the line. So yeah, Andy, did you see the Saka penalty?
Hang on.
It was today. Lamptey sort of. It's not Saka. Well,
Yes, I
Saka
did
scored the
see it.
penalty. Yeah. So surely, if that's a penalty, Doku kicking McAllister in the chest got to be a penalty. And that's the sole issue with VAR? It's the consistency. Just like if the Wolves players offside today, Akanji has to be offside for the goal.
Well, I've seen the still from the Wolves game. I'm like, why is that being disallowed? I haven't seen the clip itself. I've just seen it still. I was like, I'm just like perplexed. But that's the thing with VAR. It's the consistency. Like I say, us United fans have raged it this season, and we're just gonna be consistent. Or like even Chelsea was like, yes, I know that second penalty. I think Dalot, when he's probably caught in two minds. Do I go and try and take him on, or just do I let him run past? And he tried to take him on, slipped over, and then took him down. I'm like,
no, he didn't touch him.
Yeah,
he did touch him. He gives him a little kick on the bottom of his foot, but he does when he actually falls. He doesn't touch him. The problem is if you give these high level athletes this room to win penalties, and let's be honest, Harry Kane made a living off it. They're going to take them, aren't they? If he feels the touch, he's going to fall. We've got to have better referees in place.
I think that's where we need to be careful there as well, like because we're all Liverpool, United, Arsenal, Chelsea, whatever fan you are.
It's not just us.
We're all in agreement that there is a problem, but I find it slightly frustrating when I hear people come on TalkSport or whatever it may be saying, "Oh, we need to get rid of VAR this and VAR that and VAR the other." VAR is not the problem. VAR is just a system to be able to help people do their job properly. It's the people doing the job that are the issue. It's the fact that the referees are useless. And they're making it up as they go along. I mean, the Man City one's a perfect example. You've got Howard Webb coming on Sky TV saying, oh, he gets a touch on the ball, Doku does. McAllister gets the ball first. And you can see that. They've got this technology to be able to see that happening. And they're still getting it wrong. It's not the technology. If VAR isn't the problem, it's the substandard level of refereeing. And while we're talking about that, Anthony Taylor's the ref tomorrow. Where's he from again, guys? Just remind me.
He's from Manchester. And while we're talking about that, Jared Gillett that gave the penalty against Man United last night just happens to be a Liverpool fan.
Yeah,
it is madness.
It's rife, isn't it? Yeah.
That this happens.
Do you know what else frustrates me? You have Mike Dean on Soccer Saturday sat there trying to justify shit decisions, and then they have the cheek to have on Sky Sports News on a Monday called a Ref Watch with Dermot Gallagher, who was one of the most biased officials. And he sits there and he'll go, yeah, I can see why they give it, and he backs them regardless. And I'm thinking, it's not Ref Watch, it's just someone coming on trying to justify the terrible decisions that we've all seen.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Dan, but one of the funniest things for me is when they've got the ref sort of co-commentating on the games, and it doesn't matter who's playing. And a decision will come through, and he's like, oh yeah, he's definitely going to give him a red card here. And then he'll pull the yellow, and he went, oh no, actually no, that's a good choice with the yellow card for that. And it's just like, oh, what's the point? You're adding nothing. Yeah, you're adding nothing.
Right, so gents, we've done an hour and 28 minutes, which really impressive. I can cope with that. Obviously, good show. I'm quite happy with the way it went. Everybody in the comment section, as usual. NT making me laugh as normal. It's a big day tomorrow, isn't it? I mean, I'm at work till 2:30, and then I'm going to get in, and then I'm going to turn on the football, and then I'm going to be crying by about 5 o'clock. So I've got a really good day planned. Yes, my phone is going to be off, Dale. So
you said that. You said that in the FA Cup, lads.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't hear from you in a couple of days. It was really weird.
Exactly. You never know. You never know. I'm going to be humble until we beat you, and then I'll.
Oh yeah. That's why my phone's going off. Yeah. Dan, where can we find you? You do your usual plug. We'll leave it with you, and then we'll shoot.
Yeah, thanks. I've got my podcast, Be the Best Version of Yourself. It's basically my story of gambling addiction, epilepsy, mental health struggles, and how I've overcome them. And I'm trying to make a difference now. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Apple Podcasts. And yeah, you can find me on there, on X or Twitter or whatever it's called as well.
By the way, you can find this man absolutely everywhere. TV, internet. He's making a League
I
Two
mean-
League Two podcast now.
I'm part of it, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely everywhere. You've got more time than I have. I'll tell you that. No, Andy, I'm assuming you go into the game tomorrow. I'm
Yes, I'll
assuming
be-
you're happy
be
it's
there.
at home.
Yeah, I was just like, after Thursday, I thought, yes, I'm furious at United. Yes, I'm mad at them. But I still love United, and I will be there tomorrow cheering them on. So, yeah, hopefully
Absolute.
be a bit
nutcase.
happy at, just before 5:30 tomorrow with them. Hopefully I win. Yeah, hopefully.
You don't
Going
sound
hope.
convinced.
Tomorrow I'll be like more up for it. I'll just like when I'm in the ground and the atmosphere is, like I said, United Liverpool. Always noticed that United Liverpool, the atmosphere just goes up another level. It just
It's got to be.
always does.
We're relying on you, Andy. To be honest, we need some noise.
And Barry as well.
And Barry, yeah. I want lots of
He'll be there.
pictures. Lots of pictures. Right. Thanks for coming on, Dale. Appreciate that, mate. Hopefully, we wasn't too harsh. I mean,
No. You get very gentlemanly. Thank you.
gentlemanlike.
Yeah. I would say
Right.
good luck, but I wouldn't mean it. So
Yeah, we wish you luck for the season, but we're all hoping that you fail
yeah,
miserably.
yeah. Well, you guys are in a no-lose situation. A no-win, aren't you?
Lose.
Because
Yeah.
either we win it and you hate us, City win it and you hate them, or Arsenal win it and you hate them. So
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
Villa
So-
just couldn't keep up.
yeah,
I was thinking the City's winning it is maybe the lesser of two evils.
definitely.
Yeah,
'cause I don't
give a shit
nobody
about City.
cares. Yeah,
And with their
Yeah.
charges, I'm just thinking maybe some of those titles, if they are found, maybe some of those titles will be wiped off.
Passed around. So
Hey,
Right, we're gonna end it on this.
One. Yeah.
And
we're
that's-
gonna end it on this. Solskjaer's getting his title back. Right, we'll see you later. Thank you very much for joining
Cheers,
us.
guys.